LeBron has dreamed about playing with Luka Doncic for years. This is something he never thought, but he badly, badly wanted. When Luka was deciding where he was going to go within Nike, LeBron pressed him very hard to come to his shoe brand.
I wanted Luka to be the first signee of Team LeBron when he was going through his situation.
He was trying to recruit him then. He saw a vision of the two of them playing together.
I remember I talked to you about this on CBS Sports HQ last year at the trade deadline, and Lakers fans got very angry. But at the time, there was talk within the Lakers organization that LeBron James had grown a little frustrated with Anthony Davis.
Coincidence? I think not!
In the ever-evolving landscape of the NBA, where dreams and reality often intertwine, LeBron James harbored a vision that few knew about. For 4 years, he had dreamed of sharing the court with Luka Doncic, a desire that burned deeper than many realized. When Luka was at a crossroads with Nike, LeBron made an aggressive push to bring him under the Team LeBron banner, envisioning him as the pioneering signature athlete for his shoe brand. The recruitment wasn't just about footwear, it was about planting the seeds for a future partnership on the hardwood. The plot thickened during last year's trade deadline, as I discussed on CBS Sports HQ, a conversation that notably ruffled some Lakers fans' feathers. Within the Lakers organization, whispers emerged about LeBron James's growing frustration with Anthony Davis. This timing, perhaps, was more than mere coincidence. In the context of recent NBA history, such developments hardly raise eyebrows anymore. We've witnessed James Harden transform from appearing sluggish and seemingly ready for retirement in Houston to emerging sleek and triple-double ready in Brooklyn literally the next day. Then there's Kawhi Leonard's remarkable journey, taking a year off, getting traded, leading Toronto to a championship in a single season, only to depart immediately afterward. These stories, though wild enough to short-circuit the minds of fans and analysts alike, have become part of the NBA's fabric in recent seasons, where the extraordinary has become ordinary. The Luka Doncic to Lakers bombshell stands alone in the pantheon of NBA megatrades, distinguished by its unprecedented stealth. Unlike Kevin Durant's trade demand that made headlines, or James Harden's highly publicized desire to leave town, or even the well-telegraphed departures of Damian Lillard and Kawhi Leonard, the Doncic deal emerged from complete silence. There were no warning signs, no smoke signals, no typical NBA trade breadcrumbs to follow. As the initial shockwaves subsided, the basketball world began asking fundamental questions. How did this materialize? Who orchestrated it? And why now? But perhaps the most intriguing aspect emerged from the aftermath. The curious chorus of ESPN insiders and analysts adamantly declaring LeBron James's complete ignorance of the trade. Their messaging was remarkably consistent and forceful. LeBron was caught off guard. He had no involvement. Even Rich Paul was in the dark. He's still processing it, they insisted. The vigorous denial of LeBron's involvement by mainstream media raised more eyebrows than it settled doubts. For those familiar with James's career, from Cleveland to Miami to his Lakers tenure, this narrative struck a discordant note. Here was a player renowned for his behind-the-scenes roster orchestration, someone with a proven track record of wielding influence across multiple franchises. The more emphatically his non-involvement was proclaimed, the more skepticism grew within NBA circles. This passionate denial by ESPN's voices only served to fuel speculation about what really transpired in the lead-up to this historic trade. When we look deeper into the story, we need to talk about Shams Charania, ESPN's top newsbreaker. His connections and sources raise some interesting questions. Back in 2019, Shams joined a company called UTA. Here's where things get interesting. UTA had teamed up with Clutch Sports, and guess who was running things? Rich Paul, LeBron's closest friend and business partner. Let's break this down like a simple puzzle. If you're a news reporter like Shams and you work under Rich Paul's company, who do you think gives you your biggest news stories? It's pretty clear, Rich Paul and his team. Think about it this way. Shams gets paid to break news first and fast. And where does he get this news from? Usually from Rich Paul and Clutch Sports. So in a way, Rich Paul holds the keys to Shams' success. He needs Rich Paul's information to do his job well. Want proof? Look at what happened with Russell Westbrook. After the Lakers traded him to Utah and he was let go, Shams quickly came out saying Westbrook had nowhere left to go in the NBA. Why would he say that? Well, it helped push the story that LeBron and AD, both Clutch Sports clients, weren't to blame for the Lakers' problems. It was a way to protect Rich Paul's clients by pointing fingers elsewhere. This whole setup shows us how news and behind-the-scenes deals work in the NBA. It's like a big game of telephone, but some people control what messages get passed along. In this case, Rich Paul and his team seem to be pulling a lot of the strings in what news gets out and how it's told. The web of connections runs deep, with Shams essentially serving as a mouthpiece for Clutch Sports, carrying out their messaging strategy with calculated precision. Like a well-orchestrated chess game, Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, and LeBron James have played their moves carefully, leaving no direct evidence, no smoking gun, no clear footprints that would definitively link them to these major developments. However, in the NBA's power corridors, patterns tell stories. Around Shams, the evidence of his connection to Clutch Sports isn't just smoke, it's a blazing inferno. His role as their information conduit becomes clearer with each strategic leak, each carefully crafted narrative that somehow always seems to benefit LeBron James and Clutch Sports interests. The Luka trade story follows this familiar playbook. When Perkins and Shams immediately jumped to emphasize LeBron's non-involvement, their certainty raised red flags. How could they be so absolutely sure about what LeBron did or didn't know? Their adamant denials seemed almost too perfectly timed, too carefully coordinated. It's reminiscent of old-school power moves, where the real shot callers stay in the shadows while their trusted associates handle the public messaging, spreading information that serves their interests like a perfectly executed play. Let me rewrite this final section with a cinematic flair while keeping the core message. In the grand theater of the NBA, LeBron James has emerged as its Michael Corleone, a power broker whose influence extends far beyond the hardwood. But this Luka trade, it's more than just another move on the chessboard. We're witnessing perhaps the most seismic off-court event in the past quarter-century of NBA history, a storyline so massive it has electrified the entire basketball world. Now, let's be clear. This isn't about suggesting Adam Silver is pulling strings from his NBA headquarters like some puppet master. That's not the angle. But if you were to script the perfect NBA drama, if you were to imagine the most explosive trade scenario possible, Luka to the Lakers would be that script. It's the perfect storm of star power, market size, and narrative, a blockbuster that seems almost too perfect to be real. Sure, maybe those ESPN reporters are right. Maybe LeBron James really was caught off guard. Maybe he truly had no hand in orchestrating this earth-shaking deal. But here's the thing that makes you wonder. When you look at these reporters' track records, every story they break, every angle they push, somehow always ends up painting the Lakers and LeBron in the most favorable light possible. Coincidence? In the NBA's Game of Thrones, there are rarely any true coincidences. So why would this situation be any different from their usual playbook? Logic suggests it wouldn't be, and that's precisely why I remain deeply skeptical of claims that LeBron James was completely in the dark about this monumental trade. The connection between Shams, Rich Paul, and LeBron? It's there, lurking beneath the surface, though we may never truly understand its full depth. This Luka trade is shrouded in mystery. Supposedly, nobody knew anything. Not Shams, not the insiders, not LeBron, not the Lakers. Nobody. But let's be real here. How probable is that? We're talking about potentially the biggest trade in NBA history. A 25-year-old generational talent, Luka Doncic, suddenly heading to the Lakers without a single whisper beforehand. In the modern NBA, where even the smallest roster moves leak days in advance, are we really supposed to believe that a trade of this magnitude stayed completely under wraps? That the most connected insiders in basketball had absolutely no inkling? The math just doesn't add up. If you've enjoyed diving deep into this NBA mystery with me, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more hard-hitting basketball analysis. Your support helps us continue uncovering stories behind the biggest moments in the game.